let's move back. It's been 3 decades since the indigenous technology oil service companies in Nigeria's upstream and downstream sectors came together under the Petroleum Technology Association of Nigeria. The idea was to bring together oil and gas entrepreneurs that would contribute to the growth of the petroleum industry, the major oil operators, and the policymakers. Let's bring on my guests on this. Welcome, Engineer Wole Ogunsanya. He's the chairman of the Petroleum Technology Association of Nigeria. Great to have you in the show this evening. Thank you very much for coming. And congratulations to all of you for marking 3 decades. But let's talk about the impact that your association of professionals, indigenous entrepreneurs have been able to contribute to the growth of our industry over 3 decades.
Thank you very much for welcoming us. I will take it from the point of view of value chain. A lot of Nigerians do not really understand how the upstream sector of the oil and gas works. When we say value chain in oil and gas, every aspect of oil and gas has value. Right from finding where the oil is, extracting the oil and gas, taking it through pipelines to refinery, to export terminals, taking the gas, to a gas plant and feeding it into power plants, or taking it to LNG for export. All of that has economic value chain. In the past, most of these value chain were being taken advantage of by multinational companies, and of course because they have the know-how, the technology to be able to provide those services, provide the equipment, do the manufacturing that is required. Nigeria, as we all know, we've always been selling that oil, just getting a fraction of that value chain. So what we did, our founders, our forebearers 30 years ago, is to come to the table and say, how can Nigerian derive value out of these services? We're talking of billions of dollars. Every year, in the good days, we're getting there right now, we're spending about $20 billion just to do the operation of extracting oil and gas every single year. And largely, most of this money leaves the shore of Nigeria with minimal contribution to GDP. So our forebearers came together, and this organization was set up 30 years ago. And it's important that we understand that, look, the local content law was passed in 2010. So if you do the math, we've had our organization 16 years, and it's very tough for you as professionals to come forward and try to compete with conglomerates, huge multinational companies that has been existing for, over, some of them as much as 100 years. So that's what we did. And today, petroleum companies, we're over 100 indigenous companies. We have rigs, we can drill well, we can extract the oil, we can transport members, building pipelines across this country. The longest pipeline we're building, Jakarta to Kaduna to Kano, passing through Abuja, is being done by a petroleum company. So it's been a long way for us to ensure that that value chain I defined stays within this country. We still have a long way to go. We know we have the Dangote refineries, which is huge. So it's all with the intention of ensuring we retain value chain in Nigeria. So that's what PETEN stands for. And we're pretty sure that we're going to do more for this country in future. In
terms of expertise and standards and ensuring that we get things running, how key are you and your members within that value chain? How have you been able to adapt with technology in the industry, moving from the IOCs to the local or oil companies as well, who are the main extractors in the manner of speaking, and you supporting them across all sides with your technology expertise? Yeah,
very, very good. To do this, you have to have some experience. We didn't just, get into it. Even those that founded this organization 30 years ago, many of them were working for these multinational companies. And that's one thing that is very unique with Nigeria. We've been doing this for 70 years. The engineers that have retired, that have worked for virtually all multinational oil companies in the world, including the E&P, the exploration and production company, and the services companies. So our founders, many of them had experiences. They took those experiences and acquired technology. And this is very important. Today, we are acquiring exactly the same technology that the multinational service companies we acquire. The OEMs are out there. Some of our members are setting up production facilities within the country based on the experience they have. You know, in oil and gas, it doesn't matter whether we are an indigenous company or a multinational company. At the end of the day, you must deliver that service thoroughly. You must deliver it 100%. The barrel of oil in Nigeria is the same as in the North Sea, is the same as in Saudi Arabia. So we're not going to slack for ourselves in terms of the service quality that needs to be provided. So our members essentially develop all those services, and we're delivering services as good as any company in the world. And I will tell you this, so how far we have gone in this indigenous process. Today, more than 7 of our members founded in Nigeria working outside Nigeria. We have a member working in Kuwait. We have our members that have developed capacity locally here and took it to Saudi Arabia. Today we have our members working in Uganda. We have our members working in the US. The companies that they set up in Nigeria are already providing those services, even nearby us in Mozambique. So that's how far, that's the measure that we're not just talking about indigenization, we're talking of delivering world-class services to the industry in Nigeria. We have a member company that is working in India, founded in Nigeria. So that's what Petan represents, and that's what we have done, you know, over the last 30 years.
If you look at the local industry, one of the major issues right now is that a number of IOCs are divesting onshore, going offshore. Are these developments impacting your association in any way?
Definitely, the divestments of the oil and gas fields is in that trend of ensuring we retain value in country. If I give you an example, you know, some of the assets that are divested, those assets were in a joint venture with NNPC. NNPC is a majority stakeholder, about 55%. The remaining 45% belongs to a multinational company. Now, we have indigenous companies, exploration and production companies. The group is called IPPG, Independent Petroleum Producers Group. The Nigerians acquiring that 45%. So when you look at it from the GDP point of view, the 100% at least of those assets that are required are being retained in this country and is going to grow our GDP. So for us in Petan and other companies that are providing services, you know, the challenge is for us now to match what the exploration and production acquisition is doing. So for us, we see it as a challenge. We see it as an opportunity. It means we must continue to build capacity. We must continue to grow our equipment, training our personnel to the best standard in the world, so that at the end of the day, that value chain that Nigeria needs is retained in this country. And one of the advocates that, look, if we retain 70 to 80% of our oil and gas value chain in this country will grow into a top 20 economy in the world. I'm so convinced about it. If we extract this oil and gas, we take the oil and gas to the refinery, thanks to Dangote. NNPC is doing a lot of work to revamp the refineries that they have. If we take the gas to gas plants and put it to power, we all know what is going on in the country with the challenges of national grid and inadequate power supply. So all of that are parts of the value chain that will help an average Nigerian, that will help the economy of Nigeria.
I'm sure you and your members at Petan are very enthused with the Petroleum Industry Act, but I'm sure you would like to see further and urgent developments within the upstream and the downstream sector. What would you like to see moving forward?
You know, the big challenge, and we have to be honest about it, we are not producing enough crude oil. The quota that OPEC assigned to Nigeria, we're struggling. We're barely meeting it. In fact, it's just of recent that we're getting close to it. And that's apart from the local, refining capacity that we need. We have a 650,000 barrels refinery in Lekki Axis. And OPEC doesn't penalize you for refining income. In fact, they don't count your production that you refine in country with what you export. So the challenge we have is to increase production. And what are the challenges? One, we need to work seriously to fix the evacuation challenge that we have. We're all aware of issues of vandalization, security issues around the pipelines that produce this oil within the land assets and also in the swamp. And I always advocate that, look, the oil on land and swamp is the most profitable oil for Nigeria. The average cost of producing that oil, especially drilling the wells and all that, is 1/5 of going offshore and deep water. Even deep water is much more expensive. So the cheapest oil that will give us the greatest returns, we need to fix, is the one on ground, and we need to fix the evacuation problem. And there are challenges of enough equipment, the rigs that we will use to drill the wells, but trusting who we are as Nigerian, very enterprising people across these countries, we will acquire those equipment. If we have the assurances that the work will be there, I think the government, the NNPC should leave that to us, that we just want to be sure that the evacuation problems can be solved. There will be more projects that get to FID, and then we will work on acquiring more equipment. So those two problems, evacuation and having enough equipment assets in Nigeria to grow the production.
I'm sure Mr. President will be happy with what you folks have done for 30 years. So your 30th anniversary, what does it look like? Give me that in 30 seconds.
By the way, the president, we actually invited the president, and I can authoritatively confirm to you, I just heard the news today, that his representative will be at our event, and this shows exactly how the government understands what we're doing as indigenous companies and trying to retain value. So the celebration is a celebration. We want to appreciate ourselves. We want to show the industry to understand where we're coming from, where we are. But more importantly, tomorrow we're going to be revealing what is next. Yes, we've done well. We can pat ourselves in the back, but there's still a lot of work to do.
You can reveal that tonight here.
Well, it's there is a lot of things that we're going to be talking about tomorrow. I'm sure you guys will come and join us to see what we're talking about. Today, we actually have part of the celebration, our golf tournament at Ikoyi Club. Fantastic,
very, very good. You guys swimming in barrels of money.
Next year, by the way, and it's not about money, it's about, making sure you work hard enough and you try to relax as well. Some of our clients were there to celebrate with us, and in February, we're having the Sub-Saharan Africa, Energy Conference, where we're going to be presenting a lot of papers on what is next for this country in terms of moving the industry forward.
If that comes early in the year, that'll be really good. You said that's February.
Yes, definitely. It's already fixed. It's at a hotel.
Thank you so much.
Yes, a lot of companies.
I'm going to charge you some barrels of oil if you go further than that.
We will pack it in front of our rice news.
No, I'm going to just put a promissory note. I'm just going to ask you to sign on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to have you. Congratulations. And of course, it's been a whole lot taking the industry that belongs to foreigners 100% and domesticating it and providing value. And we thank you all for what you do and the rest of your team. Doing the hard work on the ground on behalf of the country. Thank you so much for the energy industry. Wish you all the best there. Let's move forward. Just Mr. Engineer Wole Ogunsanya, who is the chairman of the Petroleum Technology Association of Nigeria.